The only reason I remember that is because I remember the first time one of my students said it to me, and I was like, "The fuck did you just say?" Like because like, nah, that's cap, and I'm like, what? And they're like, no, Mr. Josh, that means it's a lie, and I was like, no, that means it's a ceiling. What did you just say? Like it means there's a limit. We've reaced the limit of it.
I thought you were like an actual.
I don't. But apparently the origin of it is like gold cap teeth. Like that's not your actual tooth, and so like, oh, that's cap. It's one definition that I heard.
That's a lot to substitute a word with the same amount of letters and it's the same syllables. It's not that much of a, you can say why you lying, why you capping. It's the same amount of energy. It's not a shortcut. It's not a shortcut.
Can't look in the eyes of my brother without shedding a tear.
Niggas gon' fuck.
What a remix.
Welcome back to another episode of the InforMILLy Honest Podcast. Brothers from the Miller neighborhood in Gary, Indiana, coming together and figure out this thing called life in a myriad of ways, if you will, but primarily through conversation. We thank y'all for joining us. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. We in season 5, y'all. It's been a long journey. We're just trying to grow, so help us get there. Let's get started. In
here. Let's go.
If you get a chance, there was an interview series. Do y'all remember the black woman that was in Black Eyed Peas before Fergie?
No, damn. I'm sad to say I don't.
That's funny.
So forgive me for her name escaping me right now, but you made me think about it when you said that. There was like a whole like mini doc interview or something with her because when Black Eyed Peas first started, they were a legitimate like hip hop group.
Yeah, I learned that like a few years ago.
Didn't know that. Damn, dude.
I remember they had this music video where they were like in a windstorm, like down like a San Francisco street or some shit. And I was like, yo, this shit is hot. Like, I like this. And then next thing you know, Fergie came along and I was like, these same people? What is this?
It's just funny that you were like, man, this shit is hot, because I've never thought of that when I've heard one of their songs. Maybe one. Well, I do like Will I Am. But
that was the whole thing. Like they were a legit hip hop group. Yeah. But when she left, they were going through some stuff with the label or whatever. The label brought in Fergie, and that was when they went the pop route.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Got it started.
Yeah.
Like I vividly remember like this when I follow basketball like more. I remember those finals for that. Yeah, I think like 2004.
When that song was like the
that was like the theme song for it.
Yep.
I vividly remember that.
That's funny.
It was we were doing dance competitions, and we had a piece to that choreographed by Gregory Brokeman. Shout out to him. But I heard Black Eyed and Mr. B loved fucking Black Eyed Peas. I knew that fucking album.
Wait. I'm sorry, I'm behind here. Sorry to interrupt. You said Gregory Brokeman. Were you trying to make a joke?
No, that's his last name.
His last name is Brokeman. Okay, I thought you were just. Never mind.
No. Different grade. He graduated from something like 01 or something like that.
Okay, I thought you were just being funny.
No. His I gave his whole government. But no, cool dude, really talented dancer, great guy. But yeah, he choreographed this like our hip hop piece. I put it in quotes because it had to be for like dance competitions, and we were the only all black school in the entire state of Indiana. So when we showed up to do this, like, it was funny that year because they wouldn't recognize hip hop as a thing. We had to call it funk. It was like a
oh wow.
But yeah, Black Eyed Peas at one point were like rappers, and I think more recently, like last year, without Fergie, they did come out with like a legit like rap album again.
Okay.
I gotta check it out, man.
I don't remember it because I didn't check it out. I was like, oh, look at that. And I think I listened to a couple tracks and I was like, okay.
Moving right along.
Shout out to Black Eyed Peas.
That's just a little road bump in the road.
I was doing other stuff. I was like, I'm not committing to this. Maybe someday, but I'm not doing it right now.
Yeah.
Fellas, first subject thrown in there by Marco, but I'm gonna introduce it like it was my idea. Had you heard of the term AAVE, aka African American Vernacular English before?
Vernacular.
I can't say that I have.
And I'm gonna have to second that sentiment.
So Marco, if I can look it up if necessary, can you give me the straight definition of AAV?
Okay.
And for the record, I have heard of this.
All right, so you already said it. What it stands for: African American Vernacular English. So it's basically a vocabulary that is claimed to have. Hold on. This is like a long, really long word of the. All right. So it's basically a language that's otherwise been considered Ebonics in our generation, if you will.
Right.
But they say Generation Z created this abbreviation or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that's it.
Yeah. So that's real.
A language that African Americans use, kind of like slang.
Mm-hmm. And it's I believe it's evolved over the years and all that kind of stuff. And I know in the 90s, Ebonics was a big subject, 80s and 90s, like it was whole college courses over the shit. And I'm sure by all means, if y'all want to debate me, listeners, you can write us at InforMILLy@gmail.com and be like, y'all niggas don't know nothing. But essentially it grew and evolved and all that kind of stuff. It is the equivalent of like when you go to the islands, they have patois. And I know my ear for patois fucking sucks. When I hear Jamaicans talk, I'm like, ooh, I need somebody to train. I need captions. I need captions for every Jamaican that's ever spoken.
Yeah.
But the easiest reference, do y'all remember Class Act with Kid and Play?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Remember that there's that scene where Play is trying to teach Kid how to like speak like the cool kids. And so like that whole thing about how B is using like yo, I be doing this or I be like she be doing stuff, and so he's like, oh, with the preposition in the phrase like that is essentially a like version of it. Is the way that we break down and naturally use English, how slang gets inserted, how culturally every like maybe like 4 to 6 years, there's an entire new lexicon of words that comes about.
Yeah.
Because I remember for us growing up, it was like, you know, that's tight. That's just before that, what was it? I don't know if anybody ever used the term wankster as much as Curtis tried to push it.
There it is.
Or like I
is always a big one.
It's like dope has been recycled.
Dope has been recycled.
Which is, I'm sorry, just to speak about dope. Yeah. What's so interesting about that word specifically is like that was like New Yorkers, I'm pretty sure came up with that like probably like in what the 70s, 80s,
something like that.
Okay, and then it kind of came back in the 90s and went away. Then it kind of came back. Now it's literally a worldwide term. Now you hear it literally across the world, different languages. I mean, all contexts. Like, you know, I was like, dang, that's crazy. Like, I really believe, and it's like for me, I just think that Black Americans specifically, I just don't think there's any group of people that's more influential when it comes to just like pop culture, like just what's cool.
Yes.
it can be music, it can be fashion, like, because like obviously I spent a lot of time in South Korea. I mean, and it's like, I mean, it's everywhere. Like our influence is everywhere in that country, and it's like in the fashion, the music. I mean, even K-pop has a lot of hip hop influence. It's a lot of hip hop in that, and that's one of the biggest things on the planet right now. So it's like it's crazy.
Yeah,
like,
man. Even country music is using like hip hop, hip hop melodies and shit. And like streetwear,
shout out to Bubba Sparks.
Streetwear just took over, man. My goodness.
Yeah. So my bad. Go ahead.
I found like a small list of some of the words that they're asking like non-African Americans to not use.
So give context to that though. Like how did this come to you?
I'm on this. Right. I didn't make it up.
I mean, like, what made you want to? What made you want to talk about this? What I'm saying.
Oh no. Oh, okay. The whole subject. Okay. So I actually saw some people arguing about it online, and telling people like, don't use AAVE, if you're not Black and stuff like this. And I didn't know what they were talking about at all. So I was pretty interested. And just come to find out this is not a new phenomenon. But in this environment that we live in now, like they, my bad. What?
Hey, baby.
They don't care about this. All right.
It's not a priority.
So I was wondering, like, what my question is like, what words can you claim? And are you going back and really seeing, I mean, most of the slang that we use has always been African American vernacular. So it's like, where do you draw the line? But I was curious just to see like what exactly some of the words are they talking about.
Okay.
So I don't think there is an official list, but I did find a list of some words.
Gotcha.
So we got ASF, which ASF, that's like a text language type word. You got period. Yeah. You got period, bae, boo, sus, simp, hella, T, been, like I been new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Dead ass, head ass.
Head ass is a real one. Head ass is such a real one.
Some of these may be exclusive to Chicago. Made this stuff.
Oh man!
So,
no, like I mean,
these actually sound very young though. These sounds like very young. Like Gen Z words. A lot of these are Gen Z words.
They do.
Some of them. I mean, like I guess I've been hearing head ass. I've been in Chicago for over a decade. I've been hearing head ass and goof ass for like goof ass is Chicago. Like that's exclusive.
I'm pretty sure Cap is from Chicago too.
You say what?
I'm pretty sure Capping that's from Chicago.
No, I think that's Southern. Like
really?
I remember when Cap first became like a thing in the zeitgeist and whatever. That it was from some Southern rapper that introduced it, and then it became a thing. I don't think it's from Chicago.
I guess I don't spend enough time in the bluff down here.
I remember. Only reason I remember that is because I remember the first time one of my students said it to me, and I was like, "The fuck did you just say?" Like because like nah, that's Cap, and I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "No, Mr. Josh, that means it's a lie." And I was like, "No, that means it's a ceiling." What did you just say? Like it means there's a limit. we've reached the limit of it.
I thought you were like an actual.
Like what? Like no, that's like, I don't. But apparently the origin of it is like gold cap teeth. Like that's not your actual tooth, and so like that's cap. It's one definition that I heard.
That's a lot to substitute a word with the same amount of letters and it's the same syllables. It's not that much of a, you can say why you lying, why you capping. It's the same amount of energy. It's not a shortcut. It's not a shortcut.
I think now people just say cap.
Yeah, like no lie, no cap. It's the same thing. It's like
they just put blue caps in the comment section
with the red cross, circle cross.
Right. Now, one thing I did hear you say T, and that's not. You could say just because like it was most likely Black people that brought it in, but there's a lot of terminology being used in this age and Gen Z age and all of that. That's not necessarily exclusively just Black, but it's Black queer shit because like being in the dance world, I used to hear a lot of that shit. Shade, T.
I feel like those have been around longer. Yeah, for sure. Longer. Shade and T. Yeah.
A lot of these words been around longer on this list.
Right. But just saying, like, there's some intersectionality in that. Like, there's hood shit, and then there's like gay hood shit, and then there's like all like it's just saying origins.
So it's just like fashion, man. This shit recycles itself, ends up being cool.
Oh, absolutely. Every 20 years.
Yeah.
Every 20 years, everything that was popular gonna be popular again.
Yep. I've been seeing people dress like 70s style now. I've been seeing bell bottoms now, and
I was about to say, bro, I can't go there. I can't go there. That's one thing.
They're not as drastic, That's not as drastic, obviously.
I mean, there's some early 2000s stuff going on because I'm seeing so many dudes with straight backs, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Oh yeah. Well, that's true.
So, my question is like,
rock it wherever it comes back.
Nietzsche.
Sean.
Nietzsche.
Academics, man.
I'm
sorry. Academics is terrific. I love that brand so much.
Man, what about AAVE, man? I used to love my AAVE jacket.
I had Mecca.
Mecca was a big one.
So my question is like, do we enforce this stuff? You know what I mean? Like, because the reason why I say that is like AAVE police. I heard you say
we heard you capping. We heard you capping.
I heard you say lit, man. Don't say that. No, because the reason why I say that is because, like we said, this stuff comes in and out of cycles, and we create a new slang every 4 or 5 years. So do we, it's always been like this. Do we have to enforce it, or just, this is yours now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it'll probably become more corny the more y'all use it. So you can have this.
Essentially.
So why, so that's why I was looking at the person arguing, like,
it's not worth it, man.
Everything doesn't have to be polarized to the point where we do this. Just be only thing that Black people have to do from this is keep being
ahead of the game, ahead of the curve.
Yeah, it's like
being ourselves, just existing.
I got to oppose an opinion to that, only because I think a lot about how so much of popular culture in the 90+ percentile is always influenced by Black Americans. And because so much shit that we created is stolen and profited from, it has become a reflex to just create new shit. And so what happens is like I can't fault anybody who's like, yo, don't do that shit. Even though I do think it's to some degree stupid, while I also think if you're going to, like, anytime I hear, personally, anytime I hear white women go, it's giving, it irritates my spirit. Like anytime they use that particular colloquialism, like, oh, it's giving, and like it irks my soul.
Yo, what are they saying? Like it's giving me life kind of thing, like that?
No, like
familiar with this one.
So Black women, shout out to them, primary trendsetters. They have created this colloquialism of it's giving. So it's like so let's say I have like a great fish dinner or something like that. And oh, it's giving delicious. It's giving high quality. It's giving like they start throwing adjectives on the back of it to talk about how, or like, let's say this person cut me off in traffic. Like, oh, it's giving, bitch, you need to move out the way. It's giving and so
certain vibes. I guess. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And so anytime I particularly hear white women use it, I go, stop that. You sound.
I get it.
I think to your point, Josh, like the main focus that we should have is like outside of like everyday people like using these is like when people start to profit off of these words. That's when, like you said that, but
yeah,
they need to copyright this stuff because when they start putting it on items,
Walmart t-shirts.
Yeah, it's like that's when we need to be capitalized.
Your camera went out, Marco. Just so you know.
Yeah. We need to capitalize on on your visuals right
now. Yeah, I feel you on that. It's a whole
this
thing.
This is giving me visual issues right now.
So I can't fault people for feeling that way, but I also need people to go, should I indulge in this? I think both sides can be valid.
Yeah.
But it's I'm just so sick of black folks, queer folks, and black queer folks creating shit, it becoming popular, and then everybody else profiting from it, except the people who, did it and made it popular.
Yeah.
I just feel like that has been a challenge, that has been an issue for so long, and it's going to continue. Like,
yeah,
what is the what will be the game changers to get it going in the right direction? You know what I'm saying?
You could look at it like the unfortunate side is I know it's always like, we need to have our own things and we need to start our own products and have our own social media shit. But I'm like, if everybody's on TikTok and TikTok is how that thing got popular or whatever it is that you may get popular, as soon as it's addressed that TikTok has an issue where some black creator created something, it goes viral, but then some white creator does some, or not just non-black creator anyway, does the exact same thing and uses their sound or whatever, and then does way more numbers.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's what I'm saying. Once that's known to be the issue, everybody should either make that TikTok's problem or go, let me not fucking contribute. But everybody trying to get theirs.
Yeah, of course. I'm thinking like there's probably a bunch of motherfuckers who just see that as a wave and don't even know who created it. They just see it as a wave and like, yo, every time I do something, I make numbers. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this thing that seems to be the new cool shit, and then make numbers. So like they're staying ahead of the curve. Some of these people don't even know where it came from. A lot of them probably don't. That's the problem. Like
I always doubt that. Maybe this is my general skepticism. I always doubt that the people who get the biggest numbers on shit are the ones who didn't know. If you talking about Common, Chad from Kansas, then that motherfucker might not know. But Brenton in LA, he knows exactly where that came from.
I feel that. You're right. Everybody is trying to get theirs, and I feel like to some degree, what we got to do is like, I don't know what the game changing moment in my mind is like. When corporate America is not the thing that considers, or like big business or whatever that makes this shit, that continues these things and makes this shit like, is like, it seems to be what's the word I'm looking for? the catalyst, like I guess like the driving factor for shit becoming viral and like becoming something that the masses are able to see when they're not the ones who decide what's hot or not, or like, you know, when they're not the ones who have that, when they're not the ones who have that power. Like that's it, because like they're the ones standing in the way. I mean, you know, like, I think they care more about if it's viral, if it's making money, we'll push fucking anything. I feel like you know, I didn't choose the right words because I'm not sure, but the gist is there. I hope is what I'm trying to say.
I think it is, and if I say something to negate it, then you know we'll debacle it out. What else is new? But I think it's a thing of shit. I had a point.
Sorry, man. I did it again. I did it to you. Oops. I did.
Hey, keep an eye on that waiting room. I don't know what Marco was going on.
Oh yeah.
But what were you just speaking toward? I can get this idea back.
What I was saying is like this idea, for instance, I saw this interview with Lupe Fiasco. He was talking, he think he was like Hot 97 or something with Ebro and them. Ebro and them. That's the AAVE, Ebro and them. He was saying like, for instance, they were talking about what's the 19th? June 19th. Juneteenth. There we go. Juneteenth. And like we want I'm working through it. I'm working through it in my mind on the fly. But he was saying like without corporate America, it doesn't exist to the masses. It doesn't become a holiday. It doesn't, like, you need them to some degree right now. It doesn't continue as being something that's important without that. And I feel that same way related to some degree to like this topic that we're talking about. Like, until we can stop them from being the ones that like they're clearly benefiting from this shit. It's on all of their platforms. So maybe go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to get these thoughts out before I forget them again. If we're going to talk specifically about a situation like Juneteenth, I particularly was not a fan of it becoming a federal holiday because it ain't for everybody.
Gotcha. I was kind of like using it as like a relatable, like maybe it wasn't the best example, but I was trying to, you know. I'm
saying even in that case of a Juneteenth, if you think about that in context, right? We're talking about something that's supposed to be like a insular celebration. And sure, we can, you know, want people to appreciate the fact that, you know, 2 years after motherfuckers were free, we finally found out. But at the same time, you're like, why is Walmart selling Happy Juneteenth shit? Who's really about to go buy that? And so we get into the subject of do people need corporate America in order to make it valid and all of that kind of shit? Personally, I don't think that people need corporate America to validate it. I think it gets validated, and then corporate America steps in to figure out how they can make a profit. And the constant thing is always going to be, we can make a certain amount of profit based on a blackface. We can make more profit if it isn't. And if that blackface is fine as fuck, we probably can. Like commercially fine as fuck.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's the marketing. Like, it's that like maybe that's it. Like, they have the power to market it like crazy and push it in that way. But they don't control
shit. And so
they don't control what's hot. You're right. To some degree that, you know, like most degrees, they don't control what's hot. I do think it's the reason why a lot of pop motherfuckers in the music industry who are, I feel like, is it fair to say most pop artists are not on an independent label? Here comes Marcus.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because the independent labels, I don't know the independent labels necessarily are like pushing pop.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not in those. I'm not.
This
I'm
might
not
not
in
be
those.
might not be the best example, but I'm just saying like that's one of the problems right there, because they don't just necessarily always decide what's hot, but they can market shit like it's hot. And that person who's marketed it, who's probably white and popular, can make a shit ton of money off of that without necessarily having so much talent. And I just feel like things seem more popular than they really are, because it's pushed in our face so often. I'm not necessarily saying like the Juneteenth thing I agree with.
No, yeah.
I'm just trying to make a relatable example of like that kind of power and backing seems to be like, if we can get rid of that or alter that, that could be a game-changing moment where we don't. I don't know.
That's always the hope.
I'm digging myself in the hole. But.
No, that's always the hope. But I heard someone say this. These are not my words, but it's a sentiment that I do agree with because it keeps being proven right. And it's going to be a general statement, but whatever the fuck. It's not always, of course, but just given context, white mediocrity is always celebrated more than non-white excellence. Example, we get there's countless amazingly talented musical artists that are not making a bag. They're doing everything they can to, get performances, get in those rooms and get signed, maybe get some kind of tour going on, maybe build their following and all of that kind of stuff. One little incredibly untalented little girl. Just
Friday.
Just disrespectfully mediocre, less than mediocre. Make some little TikTok situation going period whatever for way too long, loses the beat in her own thing. I don't even know if this was an exclusive beat for her. If she went and found something, it was like, I'm not going to face any copyright shit with this.
She probably went and found a tight beat.
I'm like, she found a fucking Swiss beats on Fruity Loops somewhere.
Right. But she went and did this. It got made fun of on TikTok, so therefore it went viral. This little heffalump got signed as if she did something.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Also, infamously, the Catch Me Outside. I mean, we all know the story. It's
like Bad Baby or something like
that. Like, there's guys with notebooks that's tall enough to fill their entire closet with rhymes that they've been filling up since they were 5, trying to make it. And these people are making a joke out of the genre, getting like these huge deals. It's like it's just crazy. It's like a slap in the face.
Absolutely. Even think about them two pink dudes with locks and too many tattoos. The Island Boys. They were from Indiana. What?
Oh, that's unfortunate. I had no idea.
They have no reason to look like that. They have no reason to sound like that. Them motherfuckers made a bag. They didn't even have a song.
We got the best hip hop duo from Indiana.
Oh my god,
the hip hop Dalmatians. What was that from Brown Sugar? So that's what I'm saying. Like this thing happens. Meanwhile, you have incredibly talented, not white people everywhere. That is a part of my TikTok. FYP is some dude going, I got three R&B artists you should really check out. No skips. And then telling me somebody I've never fucking heard of. Or even people who are popular that I don't really know what his bag is. But like, if we're talking about rappers, there's no reason why Jid is not like ridiculously huge. Like he's big. But this motherfucker's like great. My man got Most Def to give him a verse.
Yeah, his latest is pretty good.
It's amazing. It's an amazing album.
It is.
That's a huge endorsement right there.
So I'm like, if you got Yasin Bey to come into America and to do something besides that Nori interview, and actually make a song with you. And this motherfucker has considered himself retired from rap after that Black Star album. And he gave you a verse? How? How in the world are you not like second to Kendrick? So that's what I mean by like is everybody want to act like the playing field is fair and is or even.
no.
I ain't even
It's
say
not.
fair.
Yeah.
It's just even. And I know.
But how does it change? I just feel like that's gonna be that way all the time. Like it's gonna be.
It is.
I just don't feel like shit is gonna be fair ever.
It's been like that since Elvis. Like Elvis.
Take it.
If not before then. I'm pretty sure before then.
They just let out I haven't seen it, so I'm saying all these things out of context.
Jack Daniels.
Huh?
Jack Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Daniels. Absolutely.
It's another great example.
I don't know. I just feel like life is not fair. It's too many. Like everybody has their. It's true though. I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm excited about it.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm
not doing cartwheels about that shit. I just it's so like everybody has their own agenda and like there's too many variables. There's too many variables with like everybody's own opinions about everything and what we want to like what we think is fair and not fair and whatever, like for life to be fair. It's too many people with says and with agendas and what they want. I wish it was. I wish it was, man.
I feel you. Saying life ain't fair, that's one of them things. Like I know ever since that Lil Dicky video, I never like hearing people say that's apples versus oranges.
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, I know what you mean. No, it's like sometimes it's like a conversation ender when a valid point needs to be made. That a valid point was being made. Sorry about that. Yeah.
But the other side of that is like beyond that comparison. When I hear like, oh well, life is a fair, it is dismissive and all that kind of stuff, even if that's not your intention. Just because that's like when people say, like when people have a fuck up or they just don't want to accept their mediocrity, they go, well, I'm human, and I'm like, no, you just didn't try, motherfucker. Like that's not the same thing.
So I should definitely preface it with like, shit needs to be changed, and we still need to continue working towards things being more fair. Yeah, for sure.
It's always the hope. Let's stop there because we probably went over our time, and so we'll be right back after this. So, what am I going to be honest about today? I got to tell you, I still don't know who the fuck Harry Styles is. If you showed me, if you just held up like a row of 5 white men or white them. I don't know how they identify, but if you showed me several pictures of just Harry Styles, I would go, who are these different people? Because this motherfucker is completely unknown to me. And I get that they're supposed to be popular or something like that. And I just can't care enough to look into it. People put on dresses. Who cares? Prince did it. Rodman did it. Who cares? So please. You said what? Trent?
I'm sorry. Kid Cudi.
Oh, Kid Cudi did it. I don't care. I live in the dance world. I see men in dresses all the time. I see people who don't identify as men in dresses all the time. So stop trying to tell me that this person's important. I don't care. And as talented as you think he is, because you probably want his sweet, sweet average penis inside of you. I gotta tell you, Harry's probably not that great. As great as you think Harry is, I'm sure Harry's not that great. So let it go. Just let it go. And we're back. Thank you to Green Slip. That's it's a breast strip you put under your penis that also gets it hard. We're not sponsored by the other guys yet.
Wow.
Right on, man.
I didn't know that's like some.
My question is how come I haven't received mine yet? God damn. I gotta test the product. What the fuck? How can I sponsor some shit I ain't tested yet?
Same active ingredient as Listerine strips, minty fresh. So fellas,
oh man,
I think the seventh level of hell actually did freeze over. So much so that I can feel it up in my apartment in Chicago, because Kanye Jariathan Western Opal.
Western.
Is that the middle name for real?
No. His middle name is Amari. I think it's Amari or something.
Amari, so I don't know. He has admitted. He admitted in an interview on Good Morning America that Sway had the answers. I don't know this information. So give personal context. I couldn't give a fuck less about this thing. Only because I gave up on caring about Kanye things a long time ago. But I remember, I believe they said it was about 9-10 years ago. The infamous, you ain't got the answer. You ain't got the answers, man. Houseway. I still say Houseway to this day.
I sure do.
Yeah, and so the conversation I believe was him talking about, he made some leather sweatpants that some company tried to tell him he was wrong for, and that he's been ahead of the fashion game for forever. And as we all
I like how you started with that.
What?
That was the main idea, and you.
What, the fact that I had to start with something disrespectful to lead to the actual fact?
That was great. That was the main idea for the Sway interview. Leather sweatpants.
Y'all see how many people wearing leather sweatpants, man? I don't see it.
I don't see it. But as we all kind of know, he's in some legal affairs with Adidas, and I know he's making stuff for the Gap. But he did enter the fashion game. But now he's saying that he's about to go straight to consumer. So from Kanye to your doorstep is what he's doing now, which is what Sway suggested in that interview. It's like, hey man, well, Adam can insert the clip instead of my horrible impression. Like, hey man, why don't you just do it yourself? And then he proceeded with right.
Why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
How, Sway?
Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
Kanye.
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
Kanye.
I've been doing this more than you.
Doing what
you
more
ain't
than
got,
me? Come on, chill out.
You
bro.
ain't got the answers.
Kanye,
you ain't got the answers.
I'm asking you.
You
a
ain't been doing the education,
bro.
You ain't been doing the education.
Kanye, calm down.
You don't have the answers though.
Calm down.
Because you trying to give me advice about something. You ain't got the answer. You ain't spent $13 million of your own money trying to empower yourself.
Yes, but I spent hundreds of thousands and putting out clothing lines at a smaller degree. All I'm asking you,
it ain't no Ralph though. It ain't Ralph level.
Let me ask you this: I'm asking.
What's the name of your clothing line? We don't know.
And so, for him to go, Sway had the answer. Do y'all have feelings about this?
Initially, I kind of agree with Sway when it happened, but I understood what Kanye was trying to do, and it proved to be just to get the approval of people that he thought were higher than him, when in actuality the people are already behind you, Kanye. So why not do that? So that was that's how I felt in whatever. It's still yet to see if this plan will work for him, because just the idea is great, but it still has to be executed. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like that was my first thought, is like, well, it hasn't happened yet. you know?
Can't say you're no dream, but the inspiration is free.
Yeah, yeah. But you ever switch sides like Anakin? We'll sell everything, including the mannequin, with the new Gap. No, I pretty much feel the same way Marco does about that. Like my first thought was like, yeah, why don't you? Like, I feel like he had the ears of the people already. Like, why didn't he give that a try? And then he mentioned that he had tried it. Like, I think he had a line called, around 2008, 2009. What was that line called? Play? No, not Play Close. That's Pusha T.
No, that was
What was the one? He mentions it in the. This is terrible. He mentioned it in one of his songs. God damn it! What is it called, man?
No, we can find out. Put it in the post.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sitting here looking.
So,
I'm like,
so he had his own. He had it. around 2008. Like I remember him talking about it. He was wearing it and talking about it during his like graduation interviews for the album.
Pastel. Yeah.
I think he lost some money and was like went in debt to some degree for that. So I think that was part of his reasoning for thinking he needed like a backing at the time. Outside of, I think, a lot of it was trying to, like you said, Marcus, I think trying to prove to the people who seem to be the elite, maybe in his mind or some people's mind, that he could do it and that like he could, and he did. Him and Pharrell and other people did bring streetwear and like Virgil and shit. I do think they brought streetwear really far, and it's pretty much taken over now. Because all the people that he was looking up to and thought was the hottest have pretty much copied streetwear, to some degree. So yeah, I pretty much agree with everything Marco said, man. I do think there was a debt factor. I do think that my first thought was like, why don't fuck do you, like, I agree with Sway. Why don't you just try that shit? But I guess he felt like he had tried it and didn't have some success. So I understood what he was trying to say. But final answer is it hasn't happened yet. I think he can do it. I should say that. I think he can do it. I think he's moved fashion enough and culture, music. I think he's moved it enough that he can do it. It's just yet to be seen right now. So.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think he's done enough. I mean, I think he's done enough to, according to society, everyone believes the man's a genius, I guess. But so in that sense, he's done enough. I mean, because he's a billionaire now. I mean, no one expected that. I didn't see that coming. I thought he'd always do well for himself, but I didn't see that coming out, especially so soon.
You sound like a childhood friend. I knew he'd always do well for himself. Somebody who grew up with him, and they're like, "Where are they now?" In the VH1, where are they now? Or something.
I like, but going back to the Sway thing, I always thought, he's Kanye. Of course, he can just put his name on it. But I will say this: I guess he had a thing back in the day, in 2009. I don't think that was the time anyway, because like it just wasn't the right time.
Right
now in the social media age where everyone wants to show that they got the new thing, now people buy stuff just to show other people online that they have it. It's like, but that's great if you're selling something because like, oh, cool, I don't care why you buy it, just buy it. So people will he will put it on his website and it'll sell out in like a minute,
seconds,
just because his name is on it. And for him, he's like, whoa, I don't care why you're buying it, just buy it.
Right.
I'm sure most people in business don't truly care why you want it. It's like,
as long as you want
it.
Yeah. That's why I think like he was aiming that shit. He just had the grudge against people who he thought were holding him back from doing what he wanted. Yeah. I don't think a lot of it was the people. It was like, no, let me show you motherfuckers that I can do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we, not to get into like Kanye psychology and shit, but majority of his time in the limelight has been him trying to validate himself through other people, through other entities anyway. Whether that be, when he was a producer, no one believed he could be a rapper. When he became a great rapper, no one believed he could do fashion. When he finally got the fashion, no one believed that he could fuck a white bitch.
Got a point. He does like. He is like a contrarian almost, like, oh, yes. I mean, in a way that's somewhat valuable, but also we see your pattern and it's time to take some responsibility and stop making stop making your followers and the public save you every time that you have a blunder in business or in your private life or whatever.
Exactly.
See that I feel. Yeah, I feel that. You can't always come to the rescue, but I also feel like, what is the balance between actually wanting to explore and try different things and excel, because I really believe that I can do well as an artist in many fields. What's the balance between that and being a contrarian and feeling like I have to prove something to everybody? Maybe what's the difference between that, but also wanting to explore as an artist all the things that I like and do well at it. And like, and what I'm saying is, I do think that was a part of it for him. I don't think it's all trying to prove everything all the time. I think that plays a part, but I do think he is an artist who wants to be able to do and try whatever he likes and try shit, and he thinks he can do well. You know, I think.
Go ahead, we all want that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's me. I do everything I can learn artistically. I try to do it.
Yeah.
So I would support that to the fullest. However, when it doesn't work, we don't need to. It doesn't work. We don't need to. It doesn't. He starts pointing fingers like, they wouldn't do this for me, and they don't realize I'm Walt Disney or whatever. Right. All the stuff. Like,
I guess the question is when do you accept that it hasn't worked versus trying again or trying to do rap? Like, when do you accept that? Okay, I can let this shit go.
Because that would be the thing is if he, and Marco, let me know if I'm cutting you off because I know you're about to say something.
Go ahead.
It'd be different if every time he had like a shortcoming or something didn't work out and he was like, word, that didn't work, but we're going to try this out and do something even better. And that's not the thing. It's like Adam said, it becomes, they didn't believe that I was a genius. They didn't believe that I was like Jesus, and they didn't believe. And my biggest beef with it always is Kanye liked to be black adjacent. And I'm not trying to be like the black militant this episode or whatever, but it is like, even though I'm not militant, but I am like militantly black. It is always, he's like, oh, I need a seat at this corporation's table, and I want to be able to do fashion in Paris, and they try to keep me out and all of that kind of stuff. And he makes it seem like any progress he makes personally as Kanye is progress for all black people, as if everything he does is always going to transcend into touching somebody down in to be able to help someone who lives in the middle of Mississippi, and that's just not the case.
I feel that, but without him, I don't know if Virgil would have been Virgil in the same way.
That's one motherfucker.
I'm just saying it touched somebody in fashion. His desire, his care for fashion and pushing touched another black person in fashion to get them in a prominent position.
I'm not saying it won't touch anybody. I'm saying him making it out as if every time he does something, all of black people move forward, because that does end up often becoming a rhetoric of like, Bessie is the first black astrophysicist to earn tenure at Harvard, and that is a win for all black. Like, we do that, but it's not. I guess it's a thing of, we do that to people, but when you do it and you tell us that you're doing it, that's just fucking weird.
Yeah, and I think that's a universal hue. I think that right there, people just don't like in general. It's not even black or white at that point. It's just like, people don't like that when somebody is that way.
Yeah,
people don't respond well. No, I know that. Yeah. I know. I got you. I'm not trying to like negate that in any way. I'm just saying I realize that's just a thing that people don't respond well to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm only reason I bring up the black part of it is because anytime it don't work out, and especially in these more recent times, and he'll tell people that slavery was a choice and Trump is my nigga and all that shit. And then when he don't get his way, he like boycott Adidas. Excuse you, nigga? What? And so that's my thing, is that he's black when it's convenient to him. Or he calls on black people when it's convenient to him.
Yeah.
No doubt that he's black everywhere he goes and all that kind of shit. But yeah, that's really my beef with it.
I was going to just like point out, like we were saying, how his ventures is all in the public. Like that's one thing I do admire about Kanye, because everything he does is we know about it. For us, it's different. Like we may not choose to put it all in public, but for him, maybe he doesn't have a choice.
All his blunders and his successes. Yeah.
And that's because that's how he chooses to live. And I that's something that I still admire about him, that even though I don't know Kim Kardashian, but he committed to that situation. And who am I? Everything that he does, he's committing to. And who am I to say that he's wrong or he should have did it this or that way? But one thing to definitely point out is Kanye has the platform to do all of these things. He has the money. He has every resource that you could think of. At this point, now I just feel like his ideas are going to be exposed, good or bad, like because you don't have an excuse really. That's kind of what Sway was kind of saying, because you have a following, you have a platform, you have the resources to make I won't say all, but your ideas become material. So you have the backing, you have the now just live with your results.
I agree with Adam though, that I don't think the ways that he can reach an audience and a customer base now is not what he could have did 10 years ago. Even though he was big and all of that kind of shit, I think the world was different at the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The world was different, and you got to think the people that grew up on Kanye, like us, essentially, we're older. We can afford to spend the money. Like when we were that age, we weren't buying Kanye. Like in 2009, we were a year out of high school, 2 years out of high school.
Yeah.
Even in 2009, though, he was at the forefront of his everything. He was at the forefront of his class, his whatever he was in.
He was.
I just don't think that the times, everybody was playing by the rules of that time too. You know what I mean? Like now everybody's playing.
That's true.
With the same rules.
What do you mean by the same rules?
Like
I get what you're saying. Like, yeah.
Everybody's had to deal with the times as he did.
Yeah, sure.
But he was I don't want to say just as big, but
at the time, in the context of that time,
right? Because social media is here now, so
that's what I'm saying.
But even when it was here, he was at the top. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to.
I guess there was no avenue to make a buzz even on social media existed in 2009, but there weren't what's the word? There weren't influencers. There weren't people making real money in 2009 like there is now, where you can do. People literally are making a living off of their
social media.
Yeah, you're right. I think the buzz was left to the marketing of the big companies and shit that everybody thought was the shit. So now you don't have to rely on that so much.
Oh, now you can still download a mixtape on Dat Piff, and and now it's that's not really, it's it's such a different world now.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Maybe you still can. I don't know, but.
I mean, there's definitely something to say about almost everything that he said he was going to do or wanted to do came true. So with that, to some, at least, I can't say everything, but it's definitely a good amount. A lot of the shit that he said he wanted to do, he did.
Right.
So I mean, yo, even just that alone is like, yo, why didn't he think he could do it? You know, at the time, I don't know. But like you said, times have changed. So,
yeah, I don't have any more to add on that. I agree with y'all that the times are different. I think reaching a customer base is just so much easier now.
Yeah, especially if you got a name like
him. Yeah,
like I'm telling my wife Kirsten, like if you're a woman in like Hollywood or like you're a singer, like, and you have a pretty big name, if you come out with a beauty line, whether it's some type of like makeup or some type of something in that department, you'll be a billionaire in 5 years. I mean, it's like just put your name on it, and you'll be like, that's the market. And it's like crazy that more people don't get into that market, like to have big names, because people are becoming like a billionaire in beauty in like just a few years because it's such a huge market for it. I mean, people are selling like, you know, little 1 ounce. I mean, I don't know, 1 ounce containers of something.
Yeah. Oh my
$30.
gosh.
Like, that's crazy.
Don't get me on that. Like, that's one of the things that I liked about like a Kanye, Virgil, and Pharrell and them. But I think more so like Virgil and Ye is that they actually went to Paris and different places and actually study as apprentices to like cut patterns and all these things instead of just because they could have easily just, if Target or somebody came, is like, yo, can we just use your name?
Yeah.
But like there's like that avenue is a different level of respect and like quality, I think, quality to the product. That's I hope is more evident, you know. But.
Right. Well, fellas, this has been a good one. Got heated but not heated. Got very fervent.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap it up there. We're gonna thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the InforMILLy Honest podcast. We appreciate you. By all means, you know the socials, InforMILLy Honest everywhere except Twitter. That's InforMILLy_HP. Hit us up, InforMILLyHonestPodcast@gmail.com. Send us some questions, some subjects. Tell us some shit that, you know, bothered you. You can be forthright, vulnerable, or honest with us. Be like, hey, I really enjoy the show. Aaron, you know, I really enjoy the way that light hits his eyebrow. It does something to me. Like whatever it is, you let us know. You give us that feedback, good, bad, and different. We welcome it all. And yeah, fellas, any last thoughts? You could get it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
my last words on that, I guess, are to that point. I really wish the pastel did well because I was fucking with it back then, man. So I just
Yeah. Even though you take that.
That's the thing, though, man. I'm glad he didn't take that route, man. Just just use my name. Like, I want to fucking design this shit too. I want to learn how to fucking sew it and put the pattern together, man. Yeah, I feel you on that.
That's real. We off.
That's the final words of the episode. We off.
We off that.
AAVE.
There we go. Bring that shit full circle.
All right, well, every connection that you make, every person that you meet, and every relationship that you engage in, we implore, we empower, and some other E word that I can't think of right now. We do that shit to you Encourage. That what it is. Encourage. I said it as soon as we encourage you to always and forever be forthright, vulnerable, and most of motherfucking all, be honest. Peace.
Peace, world. Much love to you.
Old honest head ass.
One.
Yeah, one. Where did the one come from? How does one mean end of phone call?
Because it's one love. Like one love.
One love. Damn.
Like,
that was obvious.
Funny,
that was obvious.
It's still really it's still funny though.
One.
That's a great way to end the conversation for the first time. How'd you know? What? What are you talking about?
Oh my God. Good.
Without shedding a tear for my brother, I really want to try for my brother, 'cause I truly do feel for my brother.